Please join me for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
At this time, Heavenly Father, we're truly thankful for this time to meet. We ask for thy spirit to be with us and thank you for all that you do for us. And we pray for county, for our people, for our state, for our nation. Pray for those that are sick and afflicted and those who are mourning. We ask that you be with them, blessing upon them. We ask that thy spirit will be with us today so that we be able to speak and do things as thy will and for the people. We ask all this in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Agenda.
At 2:00, Amanda Sanchez, needed to cancel. She was on her way to China this morning. Wanted to. And then at 11:15, Brett Bird is going to come in and there is a discussion about those.
Okay, rest session.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Minutes.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Stack of bill.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of bills.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve payment of those bills. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We have no Title 25 signature file.
Mr. Chairman. We have a, I don't know if everybody got to see this, but we have a board cut parallel public utilities right of way easement application. Road number 318 Crooks Gap Road, 7.93 miles from Jeffrey City. Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve Crooks Gap Road, access permit.
Board cut.
Further discussion. All those in
Aye.
opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman, we have a letter thanking Courtney Hanger for her participation on the county curriculum. And Mr. Chairman, we have Commissioner's record of proceedings.
Thank you. Priority.
Mr. Chairman, we have no action items, just a couple of notations. Secretary of State, State Public Defender Thorpe, oath of office. A BLM notice of proposed decision, new stock water development. And then monthly revenue.
Julie, is there any public comment?
Sure.
Yes.
I'd like to acknowledge, the chairman of the Eastern Shore Tribe is here. I think he wants to, sir, you want to make a comment on the issue of what I just gave you?
Good morning.
Morning.
The issue that.
If you'll introduce yourself.
Oh. My name is Waylon Large, Chairman for the Eastern Shoshone Business Council. Mr. Thomas had added a letter that is from Mr. Mitch Benson. And then also a reply back from Governor Warren. With this letter and issue, Mr. Benson has not approached the tribe site, has not met with us in regards to this. We just hear stuff out there, but as for him to come face to face. No. So it's just trying to read what was given to me this morning. Along, I do have vice chairman where for the council here. And I believe there may be some other council people, maybe from North America. I did see Chairman Grossberg in the parking lot, but you were going to call. But just to address this, may not visited with Mr. Benson. So I don't know, Vice Chairman, if you wanted to say anything.
Morning, Sam, we're Vice Chair of Research Tony Tribe. I'd just like to say, he could have came and saw us. I know his deed of land is pretty much in the middle of our reservation. It's pretty much surrounded. I don't know why he'd be going through, coming to you guys first. As a good neighbor, you think he would have reached out to us in the beginning. I know there'd probably be more bigger process so we could figure something out if he did approach the tribe. Directly first.
And Chairman,
Yes,
and in that, just to let the chairman, and vice chairman know, last week there was approval from this board. I was nay, and I think Council Wilson, Commissioner Wilson also may of a resolution on this, and so I don't want that to be a surprise in the sense of a government relations, because in that.
we did that.
Yeah, we
Oh, we did?
We did.
Oh, okay, good, good.
Chairman voted.
Oh, good, okay, good. Well, good, we defeated it. So I don't have to worry about it. But in that resolution, it was something that I felt that when we're talking about the issue of government relations, at no time should a government ever overstep another government when, in fact, that government has the ability to negotiate, communicate, and talk with whoever is involved in that situation, rather than be involved from an outside sense, saying we are now involved in something that both the state and the feds and the county and the tribes already know from rulings on the issue of diminished land. But in that, the tribes are still involved in that. And in that, there is still an issue that they are involved in that same suit. It's still ongoing, even though there's a ruling. I mean, it's still something that the tribes are working on. But in that, I do not feel that with our involvement, with our collaboration we've had in the last, since 2016, that we need to be able to, step on the toes of our tribal government by not making it clear that communication first should always happen with the tribal government, because it is their buffalo or buffaloes that are being stated. Now, since this was brought out, my concern, and I'm glad that the tribes are here, is the fact that what is Mr. Benson truly asking for? In reading what I read, if there's an agreeable sense of harming those buffalo once they leave the reservation, I am not in favor of that. There has to be this collaborative effort, this communicative effort to bring those buffalo back if they wander off. And that's just communication. That's just working with the tribes. And for the tribes themselves, the governing bodies to say they never ever got contacted. And this man sat here literally saying he made all the contacts in Shoshone, and we say Deja Degwa. In that meaning, you can't come to this table and lie and expect us to gain favor in the sense of doing something. And that's why I'm very upset about this, because if someone comes to this table, I expect them to at least speak with that governmental entity that they're talking about in respect, in that respect. And I'm looking at you, Ron, because you brought this up. You've been pushing this. You've been pushing this and pushing this and pushing this. And so you have to be accountable too, as a commissioner of this board. Why are you pushing them? And these gentlemen are the governing body in the sense for the Eastern Shorty tribe, and I expect you to at least acknowledge why you keep pushing it. Yeah.
Gonna ask some questions. Who owns the Buffalo? Do you own them together? The Shoshones, both own them together?
We have our herd and the Northern Raffle have their herd.
Or they have different locations?
We're just not too far from where they are. They're adjacent from each other by the river there. And
Okay,
then we have our caretakers of our buffalo. The Northern Raffle have caretakers of their buffalo, hired hands. So, and then those hired hands are in charge of each herd. And I believe our herd is maybe 100. And I'm assuming, I can't speak for the Northern Raffle, but I think they have about the same amount. But now it's spring, we don't know how many new ones we're gonna get, so that number will probably go up. I mean, we started with a small herd, and now it has grown.
so, do they consider the herd wildlife or do they consider it domesticated buffalo? Because it brings us into an issue, you know, we have an open range. We have open range. And if you're driving down the highway, if you hit a cow. Okay, we have open range laws that protect. The person that owns the cow. So we know that the cattle are out there, everybody knows the cattle are out there. Now, what's gonna happen when they hit a buffalo in the middle of the road? And that's down the road. I mean, we haven't had that issue before. Is that a wildlife then, or is that come under domestic cattle laws? And the only thing that I think most of us are asking for is that the herds don't come in on pastures that are domesticated or just for domestic end and lose all of their pasture. And I've seen some of the pastures with buffalo, they kind of run down. And I don't blame the buffalo. Buffalo's gonna go where he's hungry. When he's hungry, they're gonna go. I mean, so how do you control that? And, you know, I put in a beet crop and you have some beets out there in the Arapahoe area. And the buffalo come in and trample that beet crop. How am I supposed to tell the landowner? You know, I'm here to protect your rights because you see the landowner, that's how they pay their taxes. And if they get their crop eaten up by buffalo or trampled by buffalo, how does he pay his taxes to the county? Because we run on their money. I mean, so that's some of the issue that Mr. Benson has, is controlling the livestock or whatever you want, wildlife loss. I don't know what they are. So that's kind of one of the issues I've, you know, because if you look, we have 7 million visitors up in the Yellowstone River. And I don't know how many animals have been killed by traffic going through Yellowstone. So it's just a matter of time if the buffalo get on the road. Do they fall under the open range laws? Or are they wildlife? These are some of the issues that come up, I'm pretty sure, in the future. And I don't know, and all I'm trying to do is protect a landowner who pays taxes, that their property is not destroyed or run over. And so that's where I'm coming from on when I represent the property owner or the taxpayer. So that's where my clientele. So
With the
so
chairman,
yeah.
for Ron, Chairman Grosbeck can answer for, his buffalo. His question.
Yeah, I do know that our buffalo did been to Mr. Benson's pasture, you know,
Yeah,
and we're just trying to be neighborly with him and get those buffalo out there, you know, because it's been on both sides. His cow got into our pasture, our buffalo got in, and so, you know, there's issue there, you know. And I just want to make sure that, you know, everybody knows the full story of it, you know. So his cows have got into our pasture, you know, vice versa, you know. We're just trying to be neighborly with but you know, at the end of the day, Northern Rapids designated their buffalo as wildlife. You know? So designated them as wildlife, you know? So then,
The tribes.
yeah, the tribe, yeah. So, and
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Oh, just one tribe?
both tribes.
Both tribes. Oh, you said.
No, I'm talking for my buffalo here.
Okay,
So,
okay.
you
So
know,
you're,
so,
you're,
yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, so, you know,
Okay, so-
we designated them as wildlife.
As
you know?
well.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we still have sovereign immunity, you know, just because the state doesn't recognize our buffalo as wildlife. That's the question here. There's other places where buffalo wander off the state park, and right now where we have the buffalo, it is fee land, but we moved them back to trust land, so we don't have that problem. So there is other wildlife, sanctuaries, as you would say, within the state that they're classified as, wildlife, you know, and they do wander off there, you know, so to me, we're not going nowhere, you know, so we need to figure this out. And at the end of the day, you know, both tribes signed treaties before Wyoming was a statehood. You know, and we're not going nowhere. We're just trying to be neighborly with Mr. Benson. You know, he's very vocal, but he hasn't come to the table with solution yet, you know. And for me, I never seen no bill come through for the fence that he needs to repair. I haven't seen that. Never come across my desk to sign for it, to help him repair his fence, or us repair ours, you know? So there is a lot of issues that are going on there, but at the end of the day, how hard is it for anybody to call our game warden, Art Lawson, or Jason Valdez, or Dennis O'Neill? Jason Valdez, the one who takes care of the money herd. Dennis O'Neill takes care of the Rapids herd. It's not too hard to call those people. And we can still be neighborly and take care of this, because at the end of the day, we're not going nowhere. When we need to come to a compromise, and if that means we need to designate our buffalo as confined wildlife, so be it. But you're gonna still stay wildlife, because that's what they are. They don't have no ear tags on them. They're not branded.
That's what I'm supposed
See, and that's where Mr. Benson says, well, I don't know whose buffalo they are. We'll get a whole both tribes. We'll figure it out. We'll go get them off there.
Commissioner Jones.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So I was just looking over the governor's letter back to Mitch Benson. Have you seen this? I know the chairman did. Yeah, I just want to ask a question. He made the statement, the governor made the statement that even though the tribes designate bison as wildlife within the Wind River Reservation, upon leaving the reservation boundary, they become livestock under Wyoming statute 23-1-102. That didn't occur, did it? If they go on to Mitch's land, that's not leaving the boundary, is it? Or is it?
So, and that's the thing that's at stake here is because of the Riverton Reclamation Project. The excess lands that we're supposed to revert back to the tribe, that the Bureau of Rec and BLM keeps saying, that was supposed to happen. It's been going on for over a century now, to get those lands reverted back to the tribe.
So again, I don't know all the
And that's
history. I don't know
That's
the
where he's
history.
going with this. where
So
Mr. Benson's
is he
going with this.
saying that that they have left the boundary when they go onto his land?
That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
And that's, Chairman, that's what I have a problem. Is he trying to get to a point where harm comes to those buffalo in that would spark off something that we don't want? As a county, I don't want to see anything move into something that it becomes more than west. Could easily happen in the sense of communication, networking, working with the tribe. And he hasn't done that. He hasn't even tried to go meet with them. But yet, he's written a letter to the governor. He's come to us. I just feel that there hasn't been a voice, in a sense, from the standpoint of the government that's in charge of the buffalo.
Yes.
He has every right to see us where our joint chamber is. But like I said, he hasn't. We haven't had that face to face. Sure wants to. He was writing, but he was in a smack dab middle of Wind River Indian Reservation. And back to the land that was supposed to be returned. I totally agree with Chairman Grosbeck. We've been waiting.
Yeah.
So, but when that ball goes into another court, well, so be it.
Yeah.
But still, Buffalo are gonna stay where they're at. I mean, I don't know. They're not moving.
Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, so now, Mr. Benson has had some conversation with Mr. Baldes,
Yeah. So,
not in the tribal setting, or not in the, not in your government setting,
Not as.
offline. So,
Yeah.
Okay, does he consider that, having talked to the tribes? I mean,
He might-
his
he might-
understanding
he
is that
might.
he was talking to him, or?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to pick sides here, I'm just trying to understand it. Mitch kind of talks so fast for us. And so we're spend a lot of time trying to catch up here, so.
but I will say this for Mitch though, everything that he did. He won't buy the book on it. Because he won't buy the long statute of laws, you know, he has, you know. And what's in question here is, how do we identify whose buffalo it is? You know, it should be a no-brainer. You know, don't get me wrong, you know, he
Yeah.
did everything with the statute and the law.
Yeah.
He has, you know. But he's raising the question of whose buffalo they are, and they're on private land, and he's talking about their Rivkin, reclamation project, you know, he's talking about all that, you know. And to me, that's a thorn in our side for the tribes,
Yeah.
the Bureau of Reclamation lands, you know. And this is where I think he wants us to go, put it on the table, guys, that's where he wants us to go,
Mm.
you know.
Anything more you'd like to say about Mr. Benson's coming in at 11 o'clock? If you'd like to stick around, that'd be great. If not, then, welcome you to tune in. Yep. Sorry, I've got a cold. Yeah. One thing that besides this, I would like to know what, I've talked to Stanford on the turmoil with the Shoshone tribe that's going on, and I'd like to know what the status of that is.
Today, we have a court hearing at 1. I'll just put initials WL's letter.
Okay.
So that's gonna be addressed today. That's just one. But the issue at hand on the other thing with the other 6 versus us 6, that court hearing is still to be held. But at the moment now, we are still the Shoshone Business Council.
Okay.
And we are still doing the day-to-day work. We had issued 2 press releases. We just did one recently. Just we want to calm the people down.
Right.
You know, we know this is upsetting everybody, but we can't afford this to disrupt anything from our day-to-day business with local government, with our local tribe, with the state, the federal government, all the issues at hand with what our grants are. I don't think, because not only my signature sits on it, everybody's signature sits on it, and we can't jeopardize that funding. So we did do, it's scheduled for court here, but at the moment, we are still the Eastern Shoshone Business Council.
So
We're
you,
not doing it day-to-day.
so you haven't got an appellant judge appointed?
That's in the hands of the Wind River Tribal.
Okay.
The interim,
And you were gonna have a conversation?
Gotta stay kind of neutral with that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
gotta, a lot of take away from that. So
yeah,
so we're not gonna,
we're just kind of waiting to be informed.
okay.
so we're still waiting.
And that appellant judge has not been named yet.
We've been waiting. Yeah, that's all I can say. We've been waiting, so. So when they do, then it'll be heard.
Okay.
But just to put our tribal people at ease, we are still the council. They're still operating day-to-day as normal. As normal.
So I'm a little confused because I see some stuff that on social media, it says that you know, closing some of the offices down and some.
Oh,
some-
That was at the beginning of.
Yeah, I
all
knew
this
that,
mess,
was at the
so
beginning, but I just saw
that has
some
been
recently.
solved.
So everything's still open,
Everything's open as normal. It's normal.
Right. And you might have heard, not, talked to Stanford about it, in great detail that, you know, we're just waiting to see what happens. We want to continue our relationship and our partnership. The things we're working on, we want to continue that, but we don't know what, you know, where it's going. So,
Totally understand you. But we're still gonna keep the
all right,
government to government.
good.
That's normal.
That's good.
No disruption.
Jim, I'd just like to add, you know, some of that stuff on social media and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
it's, some of them are blatant lies.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah. We know this.
Yeah. But I'm pretty serious.
Mr. Chairman, don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah.
Sticks and stones may break my bones,
Yeah.
bones will never.
Right.
So if you don't hear from us.
So Chairman,
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, you know, I support the council, county council. And how I see legal documents coming from my desk, you know, this is who I go with. Perfect. This is another example of try to recognize.
Okay,
Just like that.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
All right.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Vision.
Yeah.
Lee.
Hey, Harriet.
Okay. We're a little bit late for our budget hearing.
Yeah.
Apologize. Yeah. Julie.
Mr. Chairman, so what I have before you here is a budget transfer from the cash reserve to the fair annex budget. And doing some research on budgets and whatnot over the last several weeks, I noticed that we had never transferred the money that we promised them in their budget. How I budgeted it on my new budget program was not in place, and so these were never done. We want to make sure we got that to them. So it's $128,000 that came from the county commissioners to that budget in 24-25, and $80,000 for this year's fiscal budget for 25-26.
Sure,
Yes.
that's for the annex.
Is for the annex of
What was that?
CWC.
Do we know what that entailed? Is it just,
So they have so it's a self-generating budget. However, in the first 3 years, we knew probably they would need additional money. So this is money from the cash reserve that you guys
Okay.
wanted to give to them,
Right.
and it is on their budget. Where I needed to put it was not where it should have been, so we did need to move that over and transfer to them.
okay,
Any questions?
And they did make the fair board aware of that last week when they were here.
Right.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So this can only be used for the annex, is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. King.
Since this is a public hearing, are there any questions? Are there any questions? Commissioners? Your first question.
Did not have a resolution, probably.
I don't see it.
You just give them a number.
Yeah. 2026-17.
Sorry, when we don't have a Monday. That's us off.
yeah.
26-07.
07?
Yeah.
08.
Oh, 08. Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the budget transfer from cash reserve of $208,000 to the cultural and recreation transfers I have for Fremont County Fair from cash reserve. I think I already said $280,000.
Resolution.
Resolution, I'm sorry, move to approve resolution number 2026-08.
Do I have a second? Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-08. The transfer from cash reserve to the Fremont County Fair, the amount of $208,000. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Stop. Jim. Morning.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for having us today. I'm Scott Hayes, Executive Director for Fremont Counseling Service. And I have as my guest Jim Cowser, CEO of Central Wyoming Counseling in Casper. And today is a meeting and greeting day, and I wanted to let folks know that Fremont Counseling Service is in the process of merging with Central Wyoming Counseling Center. We are in the middle to late stages of our process. And I want to let you guys know that, our services will continue as they have been without interruption. Fremont Counseling Service will be an affiliate under a holding company along with Central Wyoming Counseling Center. That's going to be our business structure. So we will retain our name and business structure at this point in time. But the goal here is that and Jim can also speak to this a little bit more when we have gets his turn. But that together we can create more efficiencies and really provide better services to both of our counties and access our state funding and make that more efficient so we can provide more services to both of our counties without having to really ask for more money or things like that. So Jim, did you want to say a little bit about yourself and maybe about what your vision is for our coming together?
Sure.
Yeah.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for having us. Appreciate the time. To reiterate what Scott said, our goal is to maximize efficiencies with our state contract from the Department of Health to serve both our communities and continue to with the merging of services have things that we have in Casper be more accessible to Fremont County residents, like residential treatment and crisis services and those things, and be able to have the experience for the client be more fluid so that they're not being discharged from one agency and going to another, but we're able to actually provide care while they're, across 2 or 3 hours of distance and then returning back to their communities, continuing in care with Fremont. So we, looking at those solutions and opportunities for us with behavioral health redesign, it allows us some of these boundaries don't exist anymore across counties for us to be serving residents. So the ability to look at how can we maximize services and not tax the municipalities and local governments as much, but be able to provide more services and really expand it. So we're really excited about the partnership and being able to share the expertise across both teams and serve both communities. We currently serve a lot of Fremont County residents now in our residential programming. This would just provide a better experience for them and have it be more fluid to be returning home and receiving their outpatient services with Fremont.
I think one of the first low-hanging fruit that we're going to take a look at doing is increasing jail evaluations inside the detention and getting those folks with their evaluations and assessments. And then, as Jim mentioned, already our collaborative, just talking with each other about this, even before merging, we've been able to improve our referrals back and forth between Fremont County as well as into their residential and back. And then having us under the same organizational umbrella will just make that, even like Jim said, a better experience with less paperwork on our parts, frankly. And then more reliable and consistent, I think, evaluation, referral, transportation, back and forth. So we hope to make it work better and faster. And also wanted to mention to the county commissioners and the county attorney's office that we will continue to have our contract and perform under that contract, our Title 25 services, as they always have been. There was going to be no need to renegotiate a contract under that. We would just expect that existing arrangement would continue as is. That was satisfactory, and that would just continue.
So with that being said, the Title 25 patients, will it improve the response times as far as the evaluations? I know you're shorthanded, or you had been shorthanded, and you know, sometimes the evaluations weren't getting done just in a, I shouldn't say in a timely manner, because they were getting done within the time period, but just curious about if it would improve the evaluation and the referral, and also, does it affect, with you merging, does it affect your contracts with the state?
No, the contracts with the state are going forward as is, as they are. So there really is no change there at this point in time. That's all going very smoothly. In terms of Title 25, Chairman, our response time is very good. We took a look at that metric recently, and you know, we're calling the hospitals within a matter of 15 minutes and getting things rolling with them. The relationship with SageWack has been good for a while now, and we value that. One thing that our team, in getting to know Central Wyoming Counseling's team, we've been able to move some of our Title 25 evaluated patients, whether they were detained or not, more into some of their residential programming quicker. So we've seen an uptick there in response, and we value that as well. So not just like Wyoming Behavioral Institute, but also getting some folks into their crisis stabilization center, as well as the then necessary residential treatment that follows.
Questions, Commissioner? So are you going to continue with your plans of possibly adding on or making some residential facilities here?
That's something that we think about. No firm plans as of yet. Sure.
I know the last time we talked, I'm sorry, I couldn't wait to deal. Lightning struck my telephone line. I was out of internet and everything else.
So, you know, we just keep thinking about ways we can get something like that done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Questions, Commissioners? Yes.
Will the personnel that you have now and yourself still be the same?
Yes.
Okay.
And when do you expect this to be finally completed, the merger?
We don't have a firm date yet, Chairman. We are looking at the next 2 to 3 months.
Good.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what is the name of it gonna be again? You joining?
Well, we as Fremont Counseling will remain we'll keep our business name and entity as an affiliate. But we will have a new holding company. Did we decide on a name officially for that yet?
They're having to run that through the state to make sure it's approved, so we don't have that one ready to.
We're not ready to announce yet.
Yeah.
Both bills.
Yeah.
Well, no, Fremont Counseling will be working with you guys directly.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner.
That was my question.
Okay, we'll stay the same there.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in, and if there's anything more you'd like to add, please feel free.
I just wanted to say, to express my gratitude for the commission. We value the working relationship that you have with us, and we intend to honor that and keep it going the same as we always have been, and maybe improve it. So again, we're gonna start with looking at our jail evaluation services and then work our way up. Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Usually has some of the road.
We have a little lag time, commissioners, so I would like to bring up the topic of rescinding our vote last week of our Board of Equalization attorney. We had approved just to continue on with the contract. I think it would be better served, and I was tiebreaking vote, so I think it would be better served if we would advertise for a Board of Equalization attorney and go from there. I think we might get maybe possibly a better price. I don't know. We can wait and see what happens. So I would like a motion to rescind that. Vote.
So moved.
Then moved and second to rescind our vote for advertising for not advertising for Board of Equalization attorney. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So. Okay.
You didn't ask. Yes, you didn't ask.
So, with that vote rescinded, we need a motion to approve hiring and advertising for Board of Equalization attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. Emma, was there something else that? Okay. Commissioners, anything else?
Meeting.
Yes. Meeting reports and concerns. Commissioner Jones.
Mr. Chairman, so, we were, reduced in size for the meeting when, Nick Breyer came in and talked about the 3/4 cent, proposal. I think the, question that they're really asking is, should we take this to voters to ask the voters? And I'd like to bring that to culmination at our next meeting, which is March 3rd.
Okay.
To bring that and say yes or no, we're gonna let it go to the ballot or we're not. So, we still have those proposals. But I know that if we say no, they've got some scrambling to do to get signatures to get it on the ballot.
Right.
If we say yes, they still have to get around to the other municipalities to get agreement there about the ballot language, right? So, is that right, Julie? I'm looking.
Mr. Chairman, and we mentioned at the last meeting, they thought it was the end of March, which is good for them to have that in their brain because they do have to go to at least 2/3 of the municipalities to get that. The last date to have that to us is April 30th, and your last meeting is that week before that, so kind of mark somewhere. What's up here? So the last day you would have a meeting in April was the 21st. So if we keep those deadlines in our site, then yeah, they go.
I think
Are we gonna discuss Mr. Chairman, are we gonna discuss the issues that we may have with the proposal?
Yeah.
Because one of the issues I have, Mike, is that, or Mr. Chairman, is that we need to be the fiscal agent. The county needs to be the fiscal agent instead of one of the cities doing it. Because I think we're set up to do it. we got the bookkeepers, we got all of, instead of just a pass through, so here, check comes in to you, here's your check. I think it's better if we stay as the fiscal ledger. And so that's one of the issues I would like to talk about, with that proposal and everything.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So I see two separate things that Mick brought us. One was the ballot language. And then the other one was this MOU of what this all looks like and how it works. I'm proposing we deal with the ballot language so that they have time to react one way or another first. And then spend the rest of our time between now and whenever to get that worked out if we decide. And if it gets on the ballot, we'll have to deal with it anyway, so we have time. I'm not sure I saw it working any differently than it does now, because we distributed out the 0.5% tax, but I don't know, I don't know the
I
answer.
thought it said something about room for.
Okay. Okay,
We'll have to look at it.
good point.
All right.
Think you have enough?
Yes, please.
Okay, I had enough one before my brain took a vacation.
Legislature.
Oh, thank you. Yes, legislative. Yesterday, they did vote, so House Bill 107, which was our direct distribution. It has been, for the last biennium, it's been at 145 million to all the towns and counties. The new resolution is to memorialize this so that we don't have to keep going back every couple of years and pay for this direct distribution. Every 2 years, we have to do that. This new bill will make it automatic, and it will make it, right now, it sits at 7%. It just passed the House. We'd asked for 8. They came back and said, you're gonna get 5.6%, which is at 105 million. This brings us up to about 135. And so we couldn't convince them to get up to that, back to that 145. So it is a slight reduction as over what we received. But quite interestingly enough, the folks like Bob Nicholas, Lloyd Larson, and Steve Harshman have always been our allies on this. And they weren't. So quite interesting that I had quite a discussion with Lloyd last week, and it was no. Okay. So it was real. Everybody's getting tight down here. So anyway, it is what it is, but that's actually good news for us. There is a budget discussion going on in the House. We'll start here in 10. Budget Amendment 8 is the FNRPA funds. So these are the funds that feed Micah Christensen and the land use status, that all the good support we get for land use issues. That's where that money comes from, is out of the FNRPA account and federal natural resources, whatever. So anyway, if you're thinking about, or you're thinking about our legislators, then might put a bug in your ear this morning sometime, just say, hey, that's important to counties, because especially small counties like us, where we don't have resources like that laying around, who can, do the kind of lawyering and the research around natural use, natural resource management plan. So anyway, that's just a point there. A lot of interesting stuff going on at the legislature. Good for popcorn and entertainment, but so that's kind of the big ones on the top of mind today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
Commissioner Thomas.
Chairman, I spoke with you yesterday, and I hope that we cleared up with the newspaper. But in the newspaper, they're calling our governing boards governmental or governmental entities, meaning that they're government, but they're not. So I hope that the reporters, I think most of the ones listening, that are our board, meaning our governing board, are appointed individuals, and they're not a government. So it isn't a government to government issue between us and the fair board or with the library board. So I hope that they understand that. And I just wanted to bring it out here.
Okay. Commissioner Fabrice.
Just watching out, what this House Bill 10 was doing, Mr. Chairman, on the library stuff, so. But I'm watching that a little bit, see what the legislature's gonna, have us, recommend to us, so.
Do you think they will step into it? Yeah, I mean, you think they will step up and? Or do you think they'll just say that should be local decision?
Well, I think they're, from what I feel is that they're gonna step up to it. Maybe not, I mean, it's in the air.
Yes.
Just, I was looking at that too, yesterday and, I was surprised at the broad coalition that is moving that forward. Right now, it's not your typical cast of characters that are on one side or another. And I noticed that, Lloyd had his name on it as well. And I was like, wow, I need to ask some questions. You might reach out to Lloyd too. And ask where he is on that, because it is a broad coalition.
Yeah. It's helped a lot, it helped the county to solve some of their problems.
Yeah.
It's-
That's it. Commissioner McCarty. All right, thank you. Julie, you want to give a quick report on your trip to the legislature last week?
Oh, I'll bet that was.
Well,
Well, several bills that have been worked on in the interim for elections were killed on the first day. I think the Clerks Association has been pretty clear that we're worried about any kind of new legislation in 2026 while we're trying to perform an election. Doesn't mean that those bills won't come back on an off year, but so it is very helpful not to have those hanging over our head. One bill, actually, there's two different bills, but similar in the House and the Senate that we are working with legislators and the Secretary of State on. One of them on is to audit our machines. So as clerks, yes, that's one more thing we're going to add, and it is money that it's going to add to our budgets. But I think it's important for us to prove that our machines work. In that it would be a primary and a general, whichever one passes. So one in the Senate is like a 1-year thing. And then if they feel like that's appropriate for the future, they would continue on with some kind of audit of the machines into the future. The one in the House is would start if they get the amendments on it, they get it out of this year for the recounts and make that a 2027. That would be also doable for us not to have to do that this year. But what it would be is one federal race, one state race, and all the legislative races that you have on a particular machine. For us, we do vote centers, so the percentage is 5% of the total votes cast on election day. So for Fremont County, that'd be almost 900 ballots. And then we would choose a machine, not when I say we, the canvas board, so one Democrat, Republican, and the clerk would choose a machine as close to that number as possible. And then we would count, Secretary of State would pick the top 2 races for us to count. And then we would hand count those ballots as the machine read them, not voter intent. So that we're learning a lot more about exactly what our machine does, here and there. A lot of us know that, but we're making sure all of our clerks know how to do that. And I think it's important in the national committee that I'm on. We did that kind of a practice in last April, I think it was, or August, and we had states that had already done this, and they said by doing this, it does give more credence to what our machines do and more comfort level for people that the machines work. We also met as a clerks association with a county in Utah who also does it. Their percentages now are quite low, where ours are set pretty high right now, but it's generally about a 1% of the ballots voted on in the county. So, with those backups, that those have worked really well for those states, it's important for us as clerks to make sure that we do try that, and it is gonna be some tight deadlines for us, but we're committed to doing that. And at our April meeting, we'll be practicing all of those things again as a clerks association with uniformity, so we can have what we are doing on this the same across the entire state. Everybody's on board of how they're going to do that. So I think that's our biggest one, that we're looking at right now. I think there might be a few other bills that came from management that talked about, if things are falsified, if the county clerk is falsifying documents or things like that. We're not touching those, and we're not responding to those at all. I think if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't worry about it, right? So we're not worried about those couple bills, putting those kind of measures into place. So unless you can think of one that I'm not thinking of, I think we're kind of comfortable with some of the ones that have been put up there.
Thank you. Sheriff is scheduled to be here at 10:10. Let's take a 5-minute break. And we'll come back at 10:05. If you're there. with Ryan Lee. Thanks for the load up. What's that? Thanks for the load up. Thank you. Sure.
Somewhat, I think. Mr. Chairman, Commission, good morning. I have for you this morning, we have prepared a year-end update of the agency as we've done in previous years. Prior to getting into that, should run through pretty smoothly, but prior to getting to that, I have some numbers to share with you over the last 67 days since the last time I was here in front of the commission. These numbers are from Friday, last Friday. We had 122 people in house with 123 in custody. It was 95 men, 24 women, 2 juveniles, 0 out on home confinement. Nobody's on a furlough. We're currently housing 1 person at the state hospital and nobody out of county in a different county jail. Total number of bookings the last 67 days were 481. 229 of those originated from the Riverton Police Department, 141 from my agency, 81 from the Lander Police Department, 15 from Highway Patrol, 5 from the federal U.S. Marshals, 5 from the Shoshone Police Department, and 5 from the Dubois Police Department. Currently, as of last Friday, we had 35 people sentenced, which includes 28 men and 7 women. Our pre-adjudicated totals are currently set at 88, with a good number of those, 61% originating out of the district court. Obviously, they're on major felony level crimes. In the lower percentiles, from the Riverton Circuit Court at 30% and Lander Circuit Court at 9% when we're dealing with the misdemeanor crimes. Currently for staffing, we're staffed. However, we do have an opening for 1 cook with 1 in background at this time. Mr. Chairman, the budget at the detention center at 59% of the fiscal year elapsed is currently our salary line item is at 58%. That's obviously due to our full staffing numbers. Inmate medical is under at 55%. However, it's pushing that threshold, if you will. We keep a close eye on that. Medical supplies were slightly over. We did budget less for those this fiscal year, if you recall, but currently that's at 59% expenditure, which is right on the line, I guess. With our prisoners board, we've done very good with that. We're 56%, been pretty close. As you're aware, we always continue to look at food prices and do what we can to make sure we keep that under. But overall, that budget in the detention facility is at 51% of the fiscal year elapsed. So we're still doing pretty good. Mr. Chairman, with respect to your emergency dispatch center staffing, we're currently down 2 positions with 1 in background. As we just mentioned, the County Communications Committee is meeting today here in Lander. One of the items on the agenda, the Riverton Police Department will be in attendance, and they're having in-depth discussions in the committee concerning upgrades, again, to our Stillman system and strengthening the connectivity between both dispatch centers in Lander and Riverton. That's a way to make that a more robust system, if you will. That's in the works. The call load, I'll bring to you that discussion that's in the end of the year report. And I have nothing to report regarding the budget in the emergency dispatch center as of this morning. Mr. Chairman, with respect to the patrol and enforcement divisions, we're currently down 1 position in the Dubois division. We still have a couple working part-time. Investigators have been very busy over this last current fiscal year. With respect to our budget, again, at 59% of the year expired. Overtime is sitting at about 53%. We're watching that very closely. But overall, that budget is under at 50%. I have no other issues with the budget to bring to your attention in the sheriff. With search and rescue, in 2025 calendar year, we have 31 missions, if you will, compared to 21 last year. So unfortunately, 4 of those resulted in a fatality.
The budget, I know there's been discussion about that. Obviously, we've talked about that. The budget is inflated at this time due to the costs that we're now being burdened to Fremont County due to not being able to pass those costs through to Sutherland County, if you will, by use of their helicopter. Prior to that, Sutherland County just took care of it. So going to somewhat of a year-end report here, I'll bring your attention to the bottom graphic on this first page here. Total calls for service in 2025. Last year we had 7,000 calls, which is 7,007, which is up about 500 from the year prior. Most of those calls originate out of the Riverton area at 4,160. The Riverton Patrol Division itself. Lander is about half that at 2,034. With the upper country, people was bringing in 543, and then primarily agency assist or crimes that we're investigating on the reservation that pertain to the sheriff's office at 270 calls. The graphic up above that, Mr. Chairman, shows just calls for service by day of week. As you can see, the busiest time the sheriff's office operates is Monday through Friday. So our busiest times of Saturday and Sunday being quite lower.
I'm surprised. I always figured it was higher on the weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
That's interesting.
It depends. Years are different. I can tell you some Sundays you never stop responding to calls, but usually it's fairly quiet in Fremont and the outskirts of Fremont County. If you live. Our top 10 calls for service countywide. Again, this is no surprise. Bin inspections. There's always going to be a high number there. Assisting other agencies comes in at number 2 at 593 calls. That would be assisting Lander, Du Bois, the Shoshone Police Department, BIA, and so forth. We dealt with a lot of animal problems this year, which is up quite significantly from years past. A lot of welfare checks coming in at number 5. Number 6, citizen assist, helping people through a lot of civil issues, usually. A lot of large issues here in Fremont County, which we deal a lot with them getting into livestock, civil matters, and then traffic related incidents. The top 10 calls, 9 and 10 round that out. So for our total calls for service in the patrol division in 2025, there were 7,066 calls for service, 759 citations issued, 89 DUI arrests, which is up from 61 the previous year. Service of 1,200 or so civil and criminal process services. We issued 66 new concealed weapons permits and renewed 157 permits. Citations last year, in 2025, we issued 759, which is about average when you look at 2024. The top ranking of citations issued by Fremont County Sheriff's Office was speeding, 30 miles an hour in an urban district. That's speeding in the town of Pavilion, town of Du Bois, perhaps the town of Shoshone, or even inside the city limits of Lander or Riverton. With these traffic related citations, Mr. Chairman, I think I brought this to your attention before, but these county violations, these county court violations, those fines go straight to the state. Obviously, Fremont County sees no revenue from that. Now that's different in a municipal setting. Those funds go to the municipality, more for a more restrictive ordinance. Of course, we had the 89 DUI citations. We had several resisting and interference with police officer citations issued as the ranks number 3. Last year, that was number 5. What is up significantly is citations for drug violations. And when we're issuing citations, those are misdemeanor infractions. So those are possession, misdemeanor possession of methamphetamine, marijuana, and so forth. And the rest of those citations kind of goes back to speak with some of the traffic violations that we have, other than the dog at large, which always been a problem. Out of the major crimes reported in 2025, we had 2 criminal homicides. Both of those were closed. 2 forcible rapes. No robberies this last year. 153 assaults, 15 burglaries, 138 larceny cases, 13 motor vehicle theft cases for a total of 323 major crimes reported. Down on the bottom graphic there, will show you that how those cases were cleared. For instance, in the assault category, we cleared 139 of those assaults out of 153. Larceny, which is one of our toughest ones to investigate or clear, was 118 out of 138. But overall, we cleared 283 out of 323 major cases here in Fremont County. On the next page, this shows how many active warrants. In 2024, we have 2,246 active misdemeanor warrants. 2025, we had 1,343, which is a significant decrease. Felony level warrants stood at 130 in 2024. In 2025, they were down to 92. I can tell you that a lot of those felony warrants, people have absconded the state. A lot of felony warrants are only good for in-state only or surrounding states. So if the person that has the warrants in Alabama, they're going to stay in Alabama and we're not going to go get them. We don't have clearance to do so. That's why that number is 92, if you will. And a lot of that goes back to our misdemeanor warrants too, that people abscond from the state of Wyoming. We're obviously not going to go to Idaho and pick them up for a misdemeanor infraction of speeding. So that's where that stands. Moving into the detention center, our actual center intakes in 2025 grew by about 200. We brought in 2,951 prisoners this last calendar year. On average, we're running about 135 inmates a day, which is significantly lower than we've seen in the past years. And so forth. We only had 3 emergency detentions booked into our county jail this last calendar year. Three. Those are the persons that we have no other place to take them, and they're an imminent threat to themselves or others, and they have to be detained until they can see a mental health provider because they're a very imminent threat, if you will. It's not a criminal offense, put it that way. Top 12 booked offenses on the second page is and always will probably continue to be failure to appear for court appearances. As 1,231 people came to jail because they had criminal warrants for not appearing at court cases as they were required to do so. Public intoxication stands at number 2. Those are coming from our municipalities. The state of Wyoming does not have a statute that says it's against the law to be intoxicated in public. So out of these 530 arrests you're seeing, they're coming from more restrictive ordinances that the municipalities have, but they're bringing them into the county jail. The second booked offense was DUI. The fourth was possession of a controlled substance. And then you can go down through here and see that probation revocation. Number 9 was domestic battery, up a little bit from the previous year, and just regular battery as well, which is down from the previous year. Per agency, as those arrests come in on those booked offenses, Mr. Chairman, the Riverton Police Department continues to be the top number that comes in with 46% of the total book-ins. That number equates to about 1,368 that the Riverton Police Department brought us in 2025. The Sheriff's Office accounted for 32% of those arrests, 14% from the Lander Police Department, 6% from the Highway Patrol, and 1% from the Shoshone Police Department, and less than 1% are federal holds and detainees coming from the DuBois Police Department. Back to search and rescue, again, as I reported, we had 31 compared to 21 last year with the 4 fatalities. The mission costs have obviously grown significantly from $6,000 last year to $99,000 this last calendar year. Those numbers are set to be sent to the Wyoming State Search and Rescue Council at the end of April, and we should be receiving payment sometime in early June when that council meets. Mr. Chairman, as you're aware, you're on that committee. Into our dispatch center, 2025, we had 14, just over 14,000 911 calls come into the system. and all telephone calls together, that just kind of breaks down, 37,000 phone calls were just for the sheriff's office and, yeah, 7,000 were for the Lander Police Department and so forth as we send those out across the county. Calls for service dispatch from the law enforcement realm, 7,000, over 7,000 of those went to the sheriff's office. 4,200 went to the Lander Police Department, 420 to the Shoshone Police Department, and 475 to the DuBois Police Department. On the next page, it shows your EMS runs. The coroner is included in that. The total number there, 7,000 for EMS, 133 dispatches to the coroner's office, 57 to the classic rotor, and 172 to the Guardian helicopter. Your total fire calls were 1,270 for the Fremont County Fire District, 230 for Lander Fire Department, 239 for the DuBois Fire Department, and 32 for the Jeffrey City Fire Department.
Doesn't, Classic have a helicopter as well?
Yes, classic is included on that number, that 57 number there, sir.
Oh, okay, I thought you said fixed wing, sorry.
Oh, that, some of these could include fixed wings, but, they're mostly, kilos. Again, I brought up the concealed weapons permit. Currently, we are tracking 116 registered sex offenders here in Fremont County. That does not include the 30 offenders that we're in our system as well that are at the honor farm currently at this time. We have one deputy that's basically committed, taking care of some of those administrative duties, which is the sheriff's office duty to track sex offenders here in Fremont County. And we do very well with that and stay on top of it pretty precisely. Also, a quick number there, the average participants per month on the 24/7 program is ranging anywhere from 20 to 25. The last page is just some more administrative information here on the number of papers that we serve. We have deputies running all over the county handing these out. Criminal subpoenas are probably the number one. However, we do not see any revenue off the issuance of criminal subpoenas because that's our duty from the court by state statute that we will serve those. The remainder of these, almost every one of them, are $50 service fees attached to those for the sheriff's office to serve these papers. A lot of protection orders, forcible entry and detainers or notices to quit with respect to evictions and so forth here in Fremont County. Again, stalking and protection orders. And then unfortunately, we had to sell 28 properties or homes due to foreclosure this last calendar year. And with that, I answer any questions. That's a quick rundown of what we did in 2025. If there's any other further information you would like that I don't have at my fingertips, I can sure get that.
Commissioners. Commissioner.
Couple of questions. Sheriff Lee, where do we stand on the guards north? I mean, we had a committee there and for something. I mean, where do you kind of stand with that? Can you give us a little bit of detail on what you found on the, have we gotten the trespass signs up that we all needed and that kind of stuff?
Commissioner Chairman, yes, we've worked hand in hand with all the property owners there at Gardens North. We have the trespassing signs up that needed to be up for the abandoned properties and so forth. I think we've enforced that one time with the trespassing or vagrancy issues. We're currently still having issues out there. The problem hasn't totally gone away, but it's pretty much isolated to one or two separate residents out there. And we actively are out there and we're picking up people on warrants and getting them out of the area, if you will. But still responding to calls and people just causing disturbances out there, but it's pretty much limited to a few residents, if you will.
Another question I have for you. Last year we spent, what, $50,000 on a recovery. So, Mr. Chairman, for Grand Peaks, we had a recovery, search and rescue recovery, $50,000. Do you think, Brian, that the future that we might see, if you're going climbing, that you get permitted to do so that you help defer some of the costs? I mean, that's $50,000 out of our budget that just went up for a helicopter ride, but
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, one of the, it's not so much Gannett Peak. I mean, we have our issues at Gannett Peak, but the biggest issue we have in Fremont County with search and rescue and high scale cost is in the circuit of the towers. And that's a area that's recreated constantly by very rugged folks that are technical rock climbers. I've made mention of this to the Forest Service personnel and so forth before, but I think they need to have a stronger presence in that area with the Forest Service and perhaps even a rescue team on site. These are very technical rope rescues, unfortunately, that sometimes end in fatalities. And it really stretches our resources here locally in Lander to deal with those. But permitting, especially those extreme sports, I think may be something that the state of Wyoming needs to look at in the federal government and our forest lands in the future.
Another question. If you get picked up, boys, for DUI, what do you do with them? You haul them down under here to jail? What do you do?
Mr. Chairman, yes, they're brought to the Fremont County, they're brought to the jail here in Lander.
Does that mean you're short-handed up there? You have to
There's two.
bring the sheriff reach down.
Yes, from time to time, we could be shorthanded, but we are augmented in the Du Bois area now with the advent of the Du Bois Police Department, so that helps considerably. And most of those DUI arrests would probably come from the city of Du Bois Police Department at this time, who are doing routine traffic control up there.
And maybe you could give us a little bit on dogs that are certain. Or opioid
Right.
dogs.
That was very pleased with Lieutenant Reeman jumping on that and being able to secure the funding to get those two dogs. Both the dogs and the trainers are back from, well, training. And, yeah, they had to travel to Arkansas and, they're back and they're in service. You know, things are working very well. One vehicle is in service completely and the other vehicle, I believe it was approved as being manufactured as we speak, my understanding.
It didn't sound like to build that. Oh. It kind of hit it at the right time,
That's
where
good.
the wake.
That's good.
It's a good asset to Fremont County. All of Fremont County. Obviously not just the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, but all of Fremont County.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Any quick questions? Well, very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
you.
Appreciate the update.
It's great. Have a good day.
You too.
Stay safe out there.
Jill,
Stay safe out there.
Casey. Billy is in a meeting, emergency meeting on the road project.
Okay,
He didn't know if he was gonna be here at time. So,
okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
morning.
Morning. Casey Jones with Dow, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, so we're here for Dutch Ed Lane this morning. We have two items. The first is the agreement between Fremont County and Alexander Excavation for approval and signature, and there's 3 copies that need executed.
And as Nathan looked at those,
Yes, they were part of the contract documents that were reviewed prior to bidding.
Mr. Chairman, have we seen these before, right now? Or did these come through our file to look at?
No, I don't believe so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
did we get a chance to take a look at these before we? I'd like normally we look at agreements and have a little more time than just reading them as we're voting on them.
Yeah, apologies. These are our standard, they're really the only thing different between these and the other contractor agreements is just the names.
And this is for the Dutch Ed Lane.
It is, yeah. And part of why we weren't able to let you guys look at them before is these are the originals. And so we were waiting for signatures from the contractor.
And these agreements were in the contract as well.
They were in the bidding documents, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Well, since we looked at it in the bidding documents, we did review those, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are there three agreements?
That's correct.
Mr. Chairman, did
Yep.
we have a dollar amount on that vote?
Yeah, we did have,
We worked on that, didn't we?
we approved that contract and dollar amount.
Yeah.
Before.
Mr. Chairman, so that amount was $2,538,864.50, and that was approved previously as part of the notice of award.
Okay.
Okay, so two of these are the same. No, they're all three. the
All
same.
three are
Yeah,
identical,
okay.
yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agreement between owner and contractor for construction contract on Dutch Ed Lane with Fremont County and Alexander Excavation.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved in second to approve the agreement between Fremont County and Alexander Construction for the construction of Dutch Ed Lane. Further discussion?
Find out how expensive roads are, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, we are.
Well, howdy.
$2 million a mile. That's not what the average is.
Probably even more. This is
More.
less than a mile, so it's very expensive.
Okay, so if we don't get to your 900 miles of road up there, you might hold on.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. What else you got? Easy.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So the other thing is the notice to proceed for the same project. This will start the contract time on March 16th, 2026. And from that time, the contractor will have 180 calendar days to finish the project. And between now and then, they do have some things they have to do. We'll have a pre-construction meeting between owner, engineer, and contractor. We'll also have a public meeting before they start construction as well.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve your authorized signature to the notice to proceed with Alexander Excavation Engineers Project number 5091.27054.01, effective date of contract February 17th, 2026, but to commence by 3/16/26.
Do I
Second.
You second.
been moved and seconded to approve the notice to proceed for the Dutch Ed Lane reconstruction with Alexander Excavation. Further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Joe, what do you got? Was that all you had, Casey?
One other third thing, Mr. Chairman, is an LAPC fund request for flashing light slowdown. The exact same ones that we are going to be putting up in Atlantic City. We would like to request 2 for Hillcrest. I have an LAPC request funding sheet along with, I just used the order acknowledgement because it's this exact same price as the other ones. Our request was for $9,400. The exact amount was $9,316 is what we ordered prior. That gives us a little bit of wiggle room just in case the shipping or whatnot goes up. And I do have a copy of these for each of you, if you'd like.
That will be for two. signs,
That is for
correct?
2 signs, correct?
Mr. Chairman, those are solar powered, right? Or you have to.
They are solar powered, yeah.
And you worked with Julie about filling this out.
Not the same as last time. What was it, who's it going to, before you, I don't know if they're approving that. Not that part, but who was the name of the project? Oh, for Fremont County to Newland? Oh, Hillcrest, sorry, Hillcrest. So I had the authorization last time, 9,400, and then the correct, bid 36, or 9316.
Correct.
If you agree to that, I'll put it here.
Commissioners, questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
So where would signs normally come out of? What budget would they come out?
The road construction safety signs.
And why not out of that fund? Are we underwater in there or?
We are,
Okay.
I can tell you that as of right now, our budget was for 10,000. We have spent probably 15. We have seen a lot, an absolute influx in removing signs, stealing signs, graffiti, whatever the case may be. It's one of those things where on an overnight or a weekend, they demolish an entire subdivision or an entire 3 roads. It's crazy. We're replacing the roads, signs and posts because they're just hitting them. We've tried several different things to detour that, but nothing has adjusted that at all.
That's correct. So, yeah, we had some just, road name signs ripped off. Any discussion with the sheriff on that? I mean, it's becoming a significant number.
I know that Billy has spoken with Sheriff Lee, but I am not sure what the results were that on that.
Okay.
I know we've talked about putting up cameras. But they're worried, some of the guys are worried about if they put up their own cameras that somebody's gonna come steal them or demolish or ruin those. Destroy those.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it's not only rural, I've seen it in municipalities.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve this request for funding for road signs on Hillcrest. We round up to say 9,700.
Well, round it up to 90.
From 9316, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we don't expect
94.
any.
I don't see unless,
Okay.
shipping might be, I mean, you never know what the
Okay.
shipping costs, but other than that, I don't see.
Okay.
The actual signs going up.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna make it for 9,500.
Perfect. I read my mind.
So move to approve out of the LATC fund.
Been moved and seconded to approve, purchase of 2 flashing neon signs, slow down signs from Newman. In the amount of $9,500 coming out of the LATC fund. Further discussion. Commissioners do remember we approved the lower speed limit, last week on Hillcrest, so this goes hand in hand with that.
Okey-doke.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anita? Morning.
Good morning. I think Commissioner Thomas, I see you've got the updated. Great.
No.
Good morning, commissioners. Long time no see. So I'm here to just present a mid-year report for the library system. And so in the report that you have, there are statistics. And then I also included information about how we're doing with our special revenue fund and our just general fund and how we're doing on our strategic plan objectives. And then I also included, and this is page 7, just a little deeper dive for you to look at your leisure of just what our special revenue funds look like as we collect them. So that would be fines and fees and grants and donations and more of a breakdown of like printing revenue that we receive from printing services and ILL. So essentially, the library operations in the first 6 months of the fiscal year were focused on implementing strategic plan objectives, tracking our budgets, filling open staff positions, and delivering needed services to our county communities. I have some notable items from the first 6 months of the fiscal year. And really, a significant development is having a full-time manager at the Riverton branch. I served as both the library director and Riverton manager for 1.5 years, and it's just difficult to do more than basic library services when you don't have someone whose attention is fully focused on a particular library. So our new manager has great experience and dedication, and we're just seeing the fruit of that in services and programs and community engagement at the Riverton branch. And we have 21 positions in the library system, and all 21 positions are filled. And that makes a difference too, just in staff being able to not do double duty, although everybody wears multiple hats. But it's just nice to be at a place where we've got full staff teams. So just point number 2, after spending the first 3 months of the fiscal year really devoted to orientation and training the new manager, since I've just been working on, scrutinizing our budget, working on fundraising, making progress on our strategic plan, and then just dealing with, issues that come up in the daily business of operating the library. So number 3, as the statistics for July through December show, the library system overall is doing more than holding steady compared to the same time frame in the previous fiscal year. Foot traffic is slightly higher. Total circulation of library materials is 10% higher. Program offerings for each age group have increased, and meeting room use is still strong despite slightly lower numbers. And we saw a significant increase in engagement with our website and social media. Number 4, in strategic plan objectives, we've made progress in new community collaborations, literacy support, staff development, public computer replacement, and facilities planning. And then within this packet of information, starting on page 4, pages 4, 5, and 6, just gives you a little more particulars about what progress that we've made. And something that I'm excited about and that we're working with a lot of focus on is to develop early literacy support for families, develop our connection with the schools so that we can support what the schools are doing to, help kids learn to read and to become readers, and to encourage families to equip them in helping their children in their reading journey. Something that we're working on, and this is, let's see, where is it? It has to do with looking at a Blue Sky grant and you know, the potential of having some solar power at our facilities. And so community member Jim Massman, who was deputy county treasurer once upon a time, he is working with our facility supervisor on just gathering information. And really the question right now is, you know, would solar installation really be cost effective? Is it something that really would save us money? Is it going to be worth it? So that's where that project is at. So still gathering information and deciding, is that a viable, worthwhile project to pursue? Let's see, back on page 1, number 5, in our special revenue fund accounts, I believe we're on solid footing in all categories of our self-generated revenues, which includes fines and fees, grants, and donations. Our library foundation and each of our friends of the library groups are really dedicated to fundraising for supplementing, you know, what had to be reduced in our general fund budget this year. I'm also closely tracking our general fund budget, and barring any unexpected facility issues, I expect us to be on budget for the rest of this year. And you know, we're slightly under in payroll expenses owing to staff positions that were unfilled for the first few months of the fiscal year. And then, you know, I always include the human element of what we do. Statistics tell part of the story, but really it's the people that we help every single day in so many capacities that tell the story of our public libraries. As a county government, the libraries are a unique service to community life and well-being. You know, not only do we provide computers and internet access and copiers and meeting spaces and books and newspapers and magazines and movies, but we also provide programs and activities and events and simply a non-judgmental place to be. And these are things that encourage personal growth and connection within our communities. And, you know, there's strong support for our libraries in Fremont County because we're providing services and resources that are needed to keep people informed and enriched and connected. So I'm grateful for our dedicated staff members and who are very intentional and take their job seriously to serve everyone in our communities. On page 2, I just did a list of, you know, here are some of the things that are library directed programs that we offer for children and teens and adults. And I don't know, there are so many good things going on. So that's basically what I wanted to share, and I'll answer questions if you have them.
Commissioner's question.
Yeah. Tell me about the solar panels, because, you know, is that a little more technical? We have to have somebody that knows how to maintain them and upkeep them. And matter of fact, we got 9 on the corner building we want to give you, because right now they're called, what do they call it? Abandoned in place.
Oh, I don't know.
On the corner building. And so I kind of concerned about putting stuff on the roof. Is that where you're gonna put them?
Well, see, this is part of the information gathering, Commissioner Fabricius. There's no kind of plan in place because we're talking to different consultants who know their business, and they're looking at our energy usage. They'll look at our facilities and what, you know, each building is different, and is it even a good idea? So that's all the information I have for you. But those are the kinds of questions that we're asking, and working with people who know their business. And
Because
yeah,
you also know that you no longer put them in when their lifespan is over, and no longer put them in the dump or the solid waste. You have to, they are special hazardous waste now, and you have to ship them home. So that's something we want to keep in mind, because we'd have some more that we can get rid of, but we can't.
yeah, it's we're exploring, and it may not be something that we end up doing, but just looking for ways to, in the long run, save some money and be
Sure. So we always talk about your internet security. How's that coming along?
Internet security,
For
so.
your computer?
So we're continuing to have filtering at the internet level. With the children's public computers, where we are at is, we've changed, there's been a change from Kevin to Lance in IT. And where it was before that, Kevin wanted the library board to choose what product they wanted to install on the children's computers. And so that isn't a choice that's been made yet. But in the meantime, when our children's computers are very well monitored, and there are always library staff in the area when children are on the computers. And frequently we have parents who are there with their kids too. So in terms of, our kids using our computers to access things, they should not be, that has not been an issue.
Your question? Thank you, Anita.
Okay, nice to see you all.
You too. You too.
Mitch?
Morning,
Morning.
Mitch Benson, Fremont County. I'm not sure how you guys want me to start this. But I'll reiterate the discussion and the vote I've asked for is in reference to federal, state, and county legal precedents. Over the jurisdiction of the diminished lands. This is crucial for not only enrolled tribal members, but this is crucial for non-enrolled tribal members. And probably even more crucial for tribal enrolled members that own deeded land within the diminished lands. The legal precedence is already established. This is settled law. It was established by the Congressional Act of 1905, signed into law by Theodore Roosevelt, March 3rd, 1905. It was upheld by the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in 2017, and then upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court. So the question that comes down to is the state of Wyoming and is the county going to enforce their legal jurisdiction over the diminished lands? Just like I would not ask Fremont County commissioners nor the state of Wyoming to enforce legal precedents over the Wind River Indian Reservation. They are a sovereign nation. The Wyoming Livestock Board rules and regulations as to livestock is very clear and very specific. All privately owned buffalo running on deeded land within the jurisdiction of the state fall underneath the legal jurisdiction of the Wyoming Livestock Board. So I've asked this body collectively to vote on moving this issue forward to the governor to bring clarity to all tribal and non-tribal folks that share this reservation and these diminished lands.
I don't think I'm asking too much.
Chairman, yes. Problem I have is the fact that you brought this to us. And in that, you make statements that you had contacted tribal governments, and you have not.
I never made
You
that
have not,
statement.
yes, you did,
are
yes, you
false.
did, no, you're false.
Will you
And
go
you're-
back
I'm
and show me the
speaking, I'm
testimony?
speaking,
Show me the
I'm
testimony.
speaking, I'm speaking. In
Not
that,
tolerating
in that, you sat at this table and said you met with these entities that were tribal. You never met with any entities that were tribal.
I have.
In that,
I
you have come here, I'm speaking, you have come here. In that, you have come here threatening us
I haven't.
with
threatened
your
anything.
threat. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I
It's
didn't.
documented and it's on the tape.
You're gonna
in
turn
that-
this into
In
mudslinging?
that,
Mr. Thomas.
in that, you could have easily talked to the tribal governments and had a communication with them because it's their buffalo. You never did that, and you're coming here making a statement to us to say, I want this to happen. As a commissioner, I am not willing to do what you're asking. Because you never went through the issue of respect and the issue of communication with tribal government itself, even with Jason Valdez and other entities who were in charge of those buffalo. You never did that.
May I respond?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know how to break this to you, Mr. Thomas. But I am under the jurisdiction of the state of Wyoming. Plain and simple. As to buffalo running on privately owned deeded ground, the tribes have no jurisdiction. I did contact Jason Valdez out of courtesy and Dennis O'Neill. I also contacted, as I've testified or stated, the Wyoming Livestock Board, which has jurisdiction. Everything I have done has been following not tribal law because I'm not subject to it. I highly respect it. I respect the sovereignty of the Eastern Shoshone tribe and the Arapaho tribe. Your accusations you have made, and that you as a county commissioner on January 6th called for the removal of all deeded land, astounded me. As a representative of this board, you took an oath to uphold the Wyoming State Constitution and the laws of the state of Wyoming. I appear to be the only one that is upholding them. For clarity for all people, both on the reservation and off the reservation. Is that asking too much? Is it?
Chairman, Commissioner, it's the way you're asking it, in a sense. You come to this board, you've made statements. In that, it would have been a lot easier for you to communicate and work with those entities rather than make a mockery of government, in the sense that you're making statements, again, that are not true. Meaning, you're saying that I wanted to do away with deeded land. No,
You
I
called
know.
for it.
No, I didn't call for
January
it. I didn't call for it.
Yes, you did.
No, I did.
Go back and watch January
No.
6th testimony.
No, but you have made statements on this board that are not true and that you're saying you're not. So I would watch what you're saying because you have made statements.
I don't want to get into this mudslinging.
Then don't. But what I'm trying to say, Chairman,
What I'm
trying to say,
asking for
Chairman,
is this body.
what I'm trying to say,
Thomas still is.
what I'm trying to say is it would have been a lot easier. It would have been a lot more professional, it would have been a lot more respectful for you to have been able to speak with both the Eastern Shoshone tribe and the Northern Arapaho tribe in their chambers on there, rather than come to this chamber.
So the problem I had with that, Mr. Thomas, is that the Wyoming Livestock Board could not identify ownership of the buffalo.
Hold on a second. Were you done?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you were. The issue with that is I followed state laws and brought in the authorities that had legal jurisdiction over me as to what the state classifies as livestock that were encroaching upon my land, my uncle's land, my neighbor's land to the north, and my neighbor's land to the west. I upheld the law. I followed the law. Plain and simple. And you're stating that I'm making a mockery of this? When I'm following the law that I am subject to uphold and adhere to? So again, I ask this body to take a vote collectively to uphold U.S. Supreme Court law, federal law, congressional act, and state law. That's all I'm asking for. Because without that, there is no clarity for private property rights for both tribal and non-tribal individuals that own deeded land within this diminished lands, plain and simple. I'm not making a mockery of anything. I'm speaking factual. I have presented you with the legal precedents. I have provided you with the documentation for 13 days with the governor. You can get a hold of the district grant inspector that reported all this. This should not be so confrontational.
So with the tribes naming the buffalo as wildlife, the state names them livestock. Correct. That's an area where we have no jurisdiction. I'm talking
Apologize. I'm new at this.
that, so it seems to me you need to start having a conversation with the tribes.
No.
I'm done talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I have?
Mr. Chair, let me read what Wyoming State law says here. This is Wyoming State Statute 1126-101. It is unlawful for the owners of swine, goats, domestic elk, exotic livestock to allow such animals to run at large within Wyoming. As used in this section, exotic livestock means any non-traditional livestock animal, including, without limitations, llamas, alpacas, other camelids, ostriches, ratties, bison, hybrids, and yaks. Any owner who permits or causes such animals to run at large within Wyoming is liable for damages incurred by any person by reason thereof in a civil action. I think what we need to do, Mr. Chairman, is push it forward. This is beyond what we can settle here. It needs to go to the legislature and to the governor and put their thumb on it and say, this is the new law. Right now, I understand what Mitch Benson said. I understand what those people in agriculture are saying. What happens when buffalo get out in my planted field and I just lose, thousands and thousands of dollars in crop destruction? How do I recoup my losses? And I think that's kind of what you're saying, isn't it, Mr. Benson? That when buffalo, we can't blame the buffalo. I mean, when the buffalo get hungry, the buffalo are just like my cows. They'll go through any fence and they'll eat your pastures. They'll trample down the corrugates and whatever else and all. And I'm glad I'm not a sugar beet farmer or something like that, where that's thousands of dollars to recoup. So I understand that we need to protect your property because you are a taxpayer. That's what we run on, is the property tax is that we collect from you and every other citizen in this county that has private property. So we have to protect you as a paying taxpayer. So that's my
take on it is that we need to protect those properties that they can't be infringed on, so. That's all I have to say on that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Commissioner Fareed, you've used that term quite a bit in the sense of we pay taxes, they pay. I live on the reservation, I pay taxes.
Okay.
And to use that in a way to say, well, nobody else but they pay taxes. I don't get what I don't get what that means in a sense. In Fremont County, taxes are paid.
If I may interject.
No, Commissioner has the floor.
And in that, that's not something to use here. What we're trying to do here is say, what I'm trying to say is, it would be a respectful way to say, we as a government respect and look at our tribal governments as governments, which they are, and say, that's where you go first. That's who you speak to first. And to say, no, I won't, is disrespectful. Meaning, if something's gonna get collaboratively done, then communication with that government has to happen. Even the governor understands that. The state understands that. We as a county understand that. We deal with the tribes all the time with our intertribal county commissioner meetings. We understand. I mean, we've spoken with the council. We've spoken with the Northern Arapaho Business Council, the Eastern Shore Business Council this morning. And they both let us know that all they wanted was to be able to be communicated to. And they weren't. They were never met with. And you hear it now, he doesn't want to talk with them. In that, you want us to do what? Meaning, we don't have to do anything. Everything is bounded by the fact that the state understands what's happening. The federal government understands what's happening. The tribes understand what's happening, but they haven't been communicated to. And they own the buffalo. In that, it is their responsibility, their accountability to deal with anyone who wants to communicate issues about the buffalo. In that, we have to be respectful of those two tribal governments.
Well, I don't think we shouldn't meet with them. I think we should meet with them. I think it's a good thing. But how are you gonna identify these animals? Are you gonna identify them with a brand? Are you gonna identify them so that we can know that they've been brucellosis tested? Are we gonna be able to identify them as to whose owner they are? You know, we found buffalo from one of the ranchers here as far away as Sparson, one evidently Jeffrey City. I myself been asked if I wanted some. The state park. I have a good friend that runs the buffalo over in the state park. He asked me if I wanted them. I thought it'd be really entertaining to grow them, but I don't have a good enough fence to hold them. And I don't run 35 miles an hour and act like a bulldozer, go through almost any fence, Mr. Chairman. So, I mean, we need to continue the argument, and find out how we can get to the basis of this and come to agreement and settlement. But I'm not sure that, other than asking our livestock board and sheriff and everybody else involved to see what they can do with it, see if they can move it up the ladder.
Mr. Chairman. I believe that what Mr. Fabricius is speaking about in reference to property taxes. We tribal members and non-tribal members that own deeded land on the diminished lands. If we don't pay our property taxes by earning a living off of the land that we're on, then we are subject to losing that property for back taxes. That's a huge contrast between owning privately owned deeded land or fee land and having a tribal home site. That's a big difference. As your second point, I, as a citizen of the state of Wyoming and the United States, I am required to abide by federal and state laws. Therefore, I have come before my elected officials as a representative of both tribal and non-tribal to ask for clarity on this jurisdictional issue as it pertains to privately owned bison running on privately owned deeded ground. I don't care. I really don't. But if I have to adhere to Wyoming's livestock rules and regulations as to my cattle, and that applies to domesticated, I don't know if you can domesticate buffalo, as to buffalo running on privately owned deeded land, it should be applied equally across the board. And that's not disrespectful to tribal or non-tribal. I couldn't identify those buffalo because there's no identification marks on them. When tribal cows get on to me or my cows get on to deeded tribal ranchers in that valley, I can easily, and so can they, go to the Wyoming Livestock Brand Book and identify the brand and ownership. These buffalo carry no markings that are registered with the Wyoming Livestock Board and the brand book. So there are issues that are applied unequally according to Wyoming livestock brand inspection rules and regulations. For clarity, it would be appreciative if the Wyoming Livestock Board's rules and regulations were applied equally. That alone would bring a lot of clarity to the identification of buffalo running at large. That's not too much to ask. And asking this body to recognize the legal precedents, because you're a political subdivision of the state for which you have two branches you govern: legislative and executive. This issue falls underneath the executive side, which is clearly in your wheelhouse. So it's a matter of, is this board going to recognize their executive authority underneath the political subdivision of the state? And are you going to carry this issue forward to the governor, who is the executor of the executive branch? This is a matter of rule and law. I just listened to the sheriff sit up here and talk about law and adhering to law. Is it too much to ask that this body adhere to the same standards that it imposes upon the sheriff? I don't think so.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
We had the Eastern Shoshone and we did our tribal here earlier. And I think they refer to so the buffalo as wild, right?
Wildlife.
Okay, wildlife. And so who's the owner if they're wildlife? You know, we also have open range here in Wyoming, and you drive down the highway and you hit my cow out there on the highway. You're a wildlife. Now, if they're wildlife and they get in this open range there, who's responsible? Because there's over 7,000 visitors that go through Yellowstone a year. They kill bears, they kill every wildlife that's there. So how do you own, but yet you don't own, or you have a wildlife ownership?
Mr. Chairman, may I
Wildlife ownership.
address that?
Quickly, because we're out of time.
I appreciate it. it's another issue as to this legal precedence. The tribes have the right to classify the buffalo as whatever they want, running on federal trust land held in trust for the use of the two tribes. They can classify them as wildlife. They can classify them as livestock. They can classify them as zebras. Doesn't really matter. But these buffalo are running on fee land, deeded land. And the state of Wyoming clearly states statutorily, they are livestock. And I would like to bring up one other legal precedence. That is the Treaty of 1868. The Eastern Shoshone tribe is one of the few remaining tribal-based treaties. In the 1920s and 1930s, they refused to move from treaty-based to the IRA status. My point being is their treaty of 1868 is like our Wyoming state constitution. It is the supreme law of the land for the Eastern Shoshone tribe. And that treaty states this reservation is agricultural based. It's not a wildlife park. If the Eastern Shoshone tribe wants to modify that 1868 treaty and amend it and add a wildlife park to 2.2 million acres, then God bless them. It's their sovereign land.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that being said, we're out of time. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make the motion that we acknowledge and enforce the we acknowledge and enforce the private property rights within the diminished lands of Fremont County, state of Wyoming, as established by the Congressional Act of 1905, 10th Circuit Court of Appeals ruling on Wyoming versus EPA, the U.S. Supreme Court ruling upholding the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals ruling in the case of Wyoming versus EPA to include Wyoming state statutes and Wyoming state agencies, jurisdiction as established by the Congressional Act of 1905, move to forward it to the governor.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Last call. Do I have a second? Motion dies.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We can take a 5-minute break.
Thank all of you for coming.
Session recap. Talking to yourself again?
Are you paying attention?
I do that, I like my answers. Redbird is not able to be here, so we will reschedule him for March third.
Okay.
And I,
Great. Commissioners, Julie,
Mr. Chairman, I just didn't know if you were prepared to set a meeting with your fair board to discuss options or.
I will contact them, the chairman, and see if what they're, I asked him to come back with dates for us. And I'll share that with the rest of the board and we'll go from there. And I think your advice is that we make it a work session. And go from there.
Mr. Chairman, I also had a couple of items that I had mentioned after last meeting where we could adjust the proposition. I'd be happy to put those together, and then I also reached out to two counties who do this. Also to get some information from their boards about how they like it, don't like it, whatever. But I think that was one thing that was asked of us, is who else is doing it. And so I've reached out to them. I have not gotten anything back yet. I was hoping to have a few things for you today, but I'd be happy to look at a couple of those things for you.
Is that it? Commissioners,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, adjourned. Thank you.
Is it?